Let's be real, life doesn't come with a manual, and sometimes it feels like you're just winging it. Maybe you've been hustling hard but still feel like you're not quite where you want to be financially, spiritually, or even mentally. The world loves to tell you that success is all about constant grinding, but what if I told you that's not the full story? What if the secret to getting your shit together lies in doing less, not more? Sounds crazy, right? But here's the catch. There's a smarter way to live your life, one that brings you closer to financial freedom and personal peace without the burnout. Most people are stuck in a cycle of reacting to life instead of creating it. They worry about the wrong things, miss the big opportunities, and end up wondering why they're still broke or unfulfilled. But not you. You're about to unlock something most people never get: clarity. These 8 steps will not only help you get your life together, but also shift your entire perspective on what it means to live in abundance financially, emotionally, and spiritually. Today's mantra is, I am aligned with the flow of abundance, and financial freedom is my natural state. Comment below to activate this energy. We've all been there, excitedly sharing a new idea or plan with others, only to watch the energy fade when their reactions aren't what we expected. In Buddhism, there's a strong emphasis on mindfulness, and this applies to your words just as much as your actions. Speaking too soon about your goals can dilute your intention, much like scattering energy before it has time to solidify. Picture it this way. It's like opening your wallet to show people the wealth you haven't yet accumulated. Your plans, like seeds of abundance, need time to grow in silence before they're ready to be seen. Here's something interesting. The praise you get for announcing your intentions can sometimes trick your brain into thinking the work is already done. You might get that hit of satisfaction, and then suddenly the drive to push forward weakens. This is the psychological reward of premature praise. When someone says, "Wow, that's amazing," after hearing your plan, it feels like you've already achieved it, and that's where motivation can take a nosedive. Instead of relying on that external feedback, think of wealth as an internal journey, much like the teachings of the Buddha, where true abundance is cultivated from within, not from the approval of others. And let's not forget the negative feedback. You mention a big goal, and someone perhaps unintentionally plants a seed of doubt in your mind. Are you sure that's realistic? Or what if it doesn't work out? They may mean well, but suddenly self-doubt starts creeping in. You begin to question not just your plan, but your ability to achieve financial abundance altogether. Here's a practical way to avoid this. Keep your head down and focus on the work until the results speak for themselves. That's when sharing becomes a celebration, not an invitation for criticism. Instead of telling everyone what you're planning to do, try something different. Start before you feel ready. Often, waiting for the perfect moment can hold you back, and I'll show you why that's the case. So, let's tackle the myth of readiness head-on. You've probably heard people say, "I'll start when I'm ready." But here's the thing. That feeling of being fully prepared never really comes. In Buddhism, there's a belief in embracing the present moment, imperfections and all. Waiting for the perfect tools or timing is like waiting for a wave that never comes. Financial abundance doesn't require perfection. It requires movement. You might not have all the pieces in place right now, but starting where you are opens the door to opportunities that would otherwise remain hidden. Take the example of a new entrepreneur who decides to wait until they have the perfect website, logo, and business cards before launching their business. They spend months preparing, while someone else with less preparation is already making money. The person who takes imperfect action learns and grows in real time, adjusting as they go. This is a key lesson. Financial wealth and abundance come to those who act, not just those who plan. You don't need a flawless start. You just need to begin. Even Buddhism teaches that the path to enlightenment isn't about waiting for the right time. It's about walking the path, step by step, even when the way forward isn't clear. The magic of action lies in transformation. When you start taking those small, imperfect steps, you begin to transform both your mindset and your reality. It's not about leaping from where you are to where you want to be overnight. It's about the small daily actions that compound over time. As you keep moving forward, the universe responds, and what may have seemed impossible begins to unfold. Think of each action as an investment, whether it's financial, personal, or spiritual. Like planting seeds of wealth, the results won't appear immediately, but they will grow as long as you nurture them with consistent effort. And let's be honest, there's never going to be a perfect time. If you're waiting for the stars to align before making your move, you might be waiting forever. But when you start, even if things aren't ideal, you'll notice something powerful: momentum. And that, my friend, is far more valuable than waiting for readiness. Now let's talk about a common trap many fall into during their self-improvement journey. One of the most common traps people fall into when working on themselves is isolation. You may think that to achieve personal growth or financial abundance, you need to withdraw from the world, retreat into solitude, and focus entirely on your journey. While some reflection is necessary, too much isolation can actually hinder your progress. In Buddhism, there's a balance between self-improvement and connection with others. Even the path to enlightenment is a shared journey, not a lonely one. When it comes to wealth, remember that success often comes from building relationships and learning from those around you. Think of it like this: when you're too focused on going it alone, you miss out on the support that could accelerate your growth. Imagine someone who's working tirelessly to build financial independence, but refuses to seek help or advice from others. Their progress is slow because they're trying to figure out everything on their own. On the flip side, someone who seeks out a mentor or joins a community of like-minded individuals can exchange knowledge, learn faster, and move toward wealth more effectively. It's like trying to grow your abundance in a vacuum. It's much harder without the external input that enriches your journey. Social connection can be a powerful catalyst for growth. Surrounding yourself with people who inspire and challenge you can elevate not only your mindset, but your actions. In Buddhist teachings, there's a strong emphasis on the Sangha, or community, as a key part of personal development. The same goes for building wealth by being part of a supportive network. You create a space where ideas and opportunities can flourish. So don't make the mistake of thinking that you have to improve in isolation. Instead, find your Sangha, whether that's a group of friends, colleagues, or an online community focused on abundance and financial growth. And here's the tricky part: balancing improvement with daily life. You don't have to completely detach from your current reality to work on your future. Improvement happens in the here and now, woven into your everyday routines. You can work on increasing your wealth, enhancing your well-being, and still enjoy the life you have. Now, the challenge is staying on track, especially when life throws its inevitable curveballs. Life has a way of testing your resolve, especially when you're trying to improve yourself or build financial abundance. It's in those moments of challenge that your daily decisions become even more critical. In Buddhism, it's often said that the small, consistent actions you take each day shape the path to enlightenment. The same principle applies to building wealth. Whether it's choosing to save a little more, invest wisely, or learn a new skill, these decisions compound over time, creating a solid foundation for abundance. It's not about massive, grand gestures. It's about the quiet, intentional choices that add up to something great. But what happens when you realize that the path you're on is veering off course? Maybe you've set financial goals, but somehow you've gotten sidetracked by distractions or setbacks. That's where the power of course correction comes in. It's okay to make mistakes, as long as you're aware of them and make adjustments. Think of it as a GPS recalculating your route when you take a wrong turn. In Buddhism, self-awareness is key to progress. Financial wealth is no different. Knowing when to pivot, realign, and make better decisions will keep you moving toward your goals, even when things get tough. A common trap people fall into is the all-or-nothing mentality. You miss one day of meditation, one workout, or overspend once, and suddenly it feels like all your progress is undone. But embracing progress, not perfection, is what keeps you going. In Buddhism, the path to enlightenment isn't about being flawless. It's about returning to the practice over and over again, despite the distractions. The same goes for your journey toward abundance. If you make a mistake, it doesn't erase all your efforts. Instead of giving up, refocus on the next small action you can take to get back on track. Now, let's talk about how you can set yourself up for success by hacking your environment. By making small changes around you, you can grease the grooves for positive habits that lead to both personal growth and financial wealth. Your environment has more power over your actions than you might realize. In fact, it often shapes your behaviors without you even noticing. In Buddhism, mindfulness teaches us to become aware of these subtle influences, and the same applies when you're on a journey toward wealth and abundance. Look around. Are the things in your physical space helping or hindering your growth? If you want to cultivate financial abundance, start by setting up your environment to support your goals. Place visible reminders like affirmations or a vision board where you can see them daily. This isn't just decoration, it's a subtle cue that keeps your mind focused on what you're working toward. Let's say you want to save more money or spend less on unnecessary items. A simple environmental hack could be removing your credit cards from easy access and keeping cash for day-to-day expenses. When you make things just a little harder to do, like unnecessary spending, you naturally gravitate towards healthier financial habits. It's like training your mind to see money and abundance in a new light. In Buddhism, there's a practice of simplifying your surroundings to focus on what truly matters, and this applies to wealth building too. The less clutter and distraction, the more room there is for growth and financial success. Habits and cues go hand in hand. If you already have strong habits in place, use them to your advantage. For example, if you always have your morning coffee, why not pair it with a quick review of your financial goals? Make it a habit to check your accounts or review your investments right after that first sip. By linking new habits to something you already do, you grease the groove for long-term success. It's the same principle taught in Buddhism. Small, consistent actions over time lead to profound results. And don't forget about minimizing temptations. We all have those little triggers that pull us off course. Maybe it's too easy to scroll through social media when you should be focusing on your goals. By making distractions harder to reach, putting your phone on Do Not Disturb, or moving it out of sight, you naturally create space for more productive habits. Now let's dive into something even more powerful, personalizing your journey to make sure you're always on the right path. No two paths to wealth and self-improvement are exactly the same, and that's where personalization comes into play. Just like in Buddhism, where each individual's journey to enlightenment is unique, your road to financial abundance must reflect who you are. It's tempting to follow someone else's blueprint for success, but here's the truth. What works for them may not work for you. Instead, take the time to understand your own strengths, weaknesses, and tendencies. For example, if you're someone who thrives on structure, create a daily routine that includes time for financial growth activities like budgeting or learning about investments. If you prefer flexibility, give yourself space to make spontaneous decisions, but stay mindful of your long-term goals. Now, about those pesky moments of self-sabotage, recognizing them is half the battle. Maybe you've noticed a pattern. Every time you start to gain financial traction, something derails you. It could be overspending, skipping important steps, or procrastination. These moments are often rooted in fear or self-doubt. In Buddhism, there's a practice of compassionate self-awareness, where you learn to observe your behaviors without judgment. When you spot self-sabotaging habits, don't beat yourself up. Instead, adapt. For instance, if overspending is an issue, set up automated savings so your money grows without you having to think about it. This way, you create a system that works with, rather than against, your tendencies. Crafting your own path means not following a one-size-fits-all approach. Your success story doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Maybe you're not into the hustle culture that glorifies working 24/7, and that's okay. You can still build wealth through smart investments, strategic decisions, and mindfulness about how you spend your time and money. Take the lessons of Buddhism, finding balance and alignment with your true self, and apply them to your journey toward abundance. Success doesn't have to be about grinding every day. It can be about making conscious, intentional moves that feel right for you. Once you personalize your journey, paying attention to your progress becomes second nature. But how do you make sure you're really noticing the small victories? Let's explore how to recognize and rejoice in your progress. It's easy to get so caught up in your goals that you forget to pause and appreciate how far you've come. But in Buddhism, mindfulness teaches us to be present and aware in each moment, which applies to both your personal growth and your journey toward wealth. The reward of consistency lies in those small, often unnoticed shifts that happen over time. Maybe you started setting aside a little extra money each month, or became more mindful about your spending habits. These seemingly minor actions are the building blocks of financial abundance. Take a moment to reflect on these changes. They're signs that your efforts are working. There's a special feeling when you start to notice that self-improvement has become part of who you are, rather than something you force yourself to do. Perhaps you've realized that saving money or investing wisely no longer feels like a chore, but a natural extension of your daily routine. This is where transformation begins, when the process becomes enjoyable rather than exhausting. In Buddhism, this shift from effort to ease is a key sign of spiritual progress. In your financial life, the same principle applies. When your habits start to flow effortlessly, that's when real abundance begins to take root. Internal motivation is your greatest asset. It's easy to rely on external praise or milestones to keep you going, but true power comes from within. As you continue your journey toward financial freedom, pay attention to how you feel with each small win. Notice how your mindset shifts from scarcity to abundance, and how that shift fuels your actions. In Buddhism, the focus is on the inner journey, the transformation of the mind and spirit. Similarly, in the realm of wealth, the internal changes are often more significant than any outward result. Now, the trick is to celebrate your progress without falling into the trap of regret. It's easy to look back and think, I should have started sooner, or I could have done more. But let's talk about why rejoicing in the present is so much more powerful than dwelling on the past. As you reflect on your journey, it's important to silence that nagging voice of regret, the one that says you could have done more or should have started earlier. In Buddhism, the idea of non-attachment encourages us to let go of what was and focus on what is. Regret serves no purpose other than to pull you away from the abundance you're building right now. Instead, focus on the fact that you've made progress no matter how long it's taken. You're further along today than you were yesterday, and that's something worth celebrating. Gratitude is a powerful practice, and it works wonders in both spiritual and financial realms. Take a moment each day to express gratitude for where you are, even if you feel like you still have a long way to go. Maybe you haven't reached all your financial goals yet, but you've built the habits and mindset that will take you there. This is the essence of wealth in Buddhism. Abundance isn't just about what you have, it's about appreciating what you've already cultivated. So let go of the should have and could have thoughts, and embrace the present moment with joy. When you focus on the present, you naturally begin to build the future you desire. Regret and self-criticism keep you tethered to the past, but gratitude frees you to move forward. Instead of worrying about lost opportunities, shift your mindset to building new ones. Whether it's making smarter financial choices, seizing an investment opportunity, or simply being more mindful about your spending, each decision you make today is shaping the future you want. In Buddhism, the idea of impermanence reminds us that every moment is fleeting, and what matters most is how you're using the present to create what comes next. And here's a little secret. Your future success doesn't require you to fight your past. You don't have to overcome it. You simply have to build on what you've learned. Now that you've got the steps to get your shimmers together, the real question is, what's stopping you? Is it fear, procrastination, or maybe just a lack of clarity? It's time to be brutally honest with yourself. Are you ready to make the changes that will lead to a life of abundance, financial freedom, and true peace? Or will you keep letting the same old patterns hold you back? The choice is yours, but remember, every small step you take today shapes the future you'll wake up to tomorrow. So what's it going to be? Are you ready to take control? I want to hear from you. What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now in getting your life together? Drop a comment below and let's get this conversation started. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can keep learning how to master this journey toward abundance. There's so much more to explore, and I don't want you to miss a single thing. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.